Welcome back, Beans Army, to another episode of the Less is More Sports Podcast, the college offseason podcast. But wait, not so fast, because college football is officially back. We are officially on week 0, and we got a slate of games today. But here's the first question. Me and Matt were kind of debating in the group chat before the show. Does week 0 still count as the offseason? Matt, I'll start with you.
I'm gonna say yes because I can't say one thing anymore because I was gonna say until we get a top 10 matchup in week 0. I was gonna say top 25, and then I looked at the game today, and guess what?
We got one.
We got a top 25 matchup in Ireland of all places today. So I guess until we have like a top 10 game stateside in week 0, we're still going to, call it a mulligan, even though the games count going forward. But, I read an article, or not an article, a post last night where it was like, would you rather have week 0 the way it is now, where you get like one potentially very good game, or like last year with Florida State and Georgia Tech, which was an unexpectedly great game, and then like a bunch of smaller games with like Hawaii and Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, yada, etc. Or would you rather have like only three games that are kind of like mid tier games? Maybe not like Ohio State and Texas, but like Baylor and Auburn. I know they're playing Miami and Notre Dame. And it's like, yeah, that's a good question. But I kind of like this the way it is because, when you only have one really good game, you get like a teaser for like the big games that are to come. And then you get a lot of little fun games to watch too that are between teams that you don't really know anything about. You probably won't have to pay too much attention to for the season, but it gives them a spotlight. It's like those old bracket buster games back when ESPN was good and you get to watch bracket buster games. It's kind of like that for me. So I kind of like it. It whets the appetite. It gets you peaked, gets you ready for next week when it's a Labor Day weekend and it's a holiday and you're with your family and you're grilling out. And then at noon, you get Ohio State and Texas, baby.
That's
That's how it
right.
should be. This is the perfect way for me. So, I'm okay with week 0 being apocryphal to whoever it wants to be. It can be real as you want it to make it, but what matters is we're going to get a good game today. We got top 25 matchup. We got a lot of little fun games going on. And, the weather's getting cooler. It's starting to feel like fall. Why not get a little taste before we dive headfirst into the whole thing?
Just a little taste.
Just a little taste.
We have our first disagreement on the show today because I'm of the opinion that the second the season kicks off or tips off, regardless of sport, it's here, baby. I think week 0 is definitely the start of college football. But hey, we got a slate of games today, of course, led by the top 25 matchup between number 22 Iowa State and number 17 Kansas State. Kansas State is favored by 3. Of course, we
Mm-hmm.
got that game followed up by Idaho State and UNLV. UNLV is a 24.5 point favorite. And if you listen to the show, you'll know that UNLV was my pick to make the college football playoff. Of course, we also got Fresno State and Kansas. Kansas is a 13-point favorite in that game. The exciting part about this game is that it's Kansas's first game in their new stadium, so I think they're going to come out hype, just
Oh,
ready
yeah.
to set the tone. Another game we got Sam Houston State versus WKU. WKU is a 10-point favorite. Um, Little fun fact though, the new head coach of Sam Houston State, Phil Longo, a former coordinator that we've talked on this show about a couple times because he's one of the better offensive coordinators in college football. Now he's got a stint as a head coach of the Sam Houston State, I believe the Cougars, but you're the expert on that.
I think they're the Wildcats, but
The
I'm not sure.
Wildcats, same cat family but wrong logo.
I almost like how you called them Ham Houston State though, because I want to go to that school.
That would be awesome. It's like
Everything's just
Dr.
pork.
Seuss is the dean. I'm just saying.
Dr. Seuss. I was just thinking about how great it would be if they just had ham and bacon all the time.
I mean, what if there was like one of their top majors was like a culinary course for breakfast?
The
That'd be
pork,
dope. That'd be dope.
the porcine breakfast at Ham Houston State University. I would
That
go
would
for
be
that.
awesome.
I would
And
go for that.
you know what? Think we're on to something. We're gonna
I
start
think
our own. We're gonna start our own culinary college.
our NIL is just literally bacon. That's
You know
all it is.
what? I feel like a lot of linemen would take you up on that.
It's all just bacon. Like you
It's
don't
just
give money,
bacon.
but you wake up to like stacks and stacks of bacon.
There's turkey bacon. There's regular bacon. There's even
You
new
can even
bacon
have
that we might just
you
come
can
out
have a
with.
you can have a bacon cheeseburger. We even got that cinnamon toast crunch bacon for dessert. If you've seen that in the store
In honor of the Kentucky State Fair, we have the donut burger with bacon,
with bacon. See, it's all
dipped in
coming together.
chocolate, which is a heart attack waiting to happen. But
Yeah, I was
hey,
saying let's we don't want to kill everybody here.
yeah, we want our players to be relatively healthy, even though with NIL offering bacon, there's going to be a limit on that. But
It could be vegan or vegetarian bacon. It could be made of like soy or something. You don't
yeah, I
know.
mean, we're here to experiment about all the new ways you can make bacon.
I do have to admit, getting back to the week zero thing with the one game we've got going on this week, that's the top 25 in Ireland. Have you seen online where people in Ireland, the bars, you go online to like your Amazon or your Temu and you type in like Iowa State flag and it comes with the Cyclones. Well, Kansas State flag apparently does not give very direct results because I've seen many bars across Ireland and pubs that have like the state flag of Kansas with the sunflowers and the blue background, not the Kansas State Wildcat,
But the
the
Kansas State
Kansas
flag,
State flag alongside the Iowa State flag. And they're like, well, they're technically not wrong.
they're
And it's like,
not
no, they're
wrong,
not. They're not.
but I mean,
They're kind of wrong.
they're kind of wrong. Yeah.
They're kind of wrong, but we forgive them because that is very confusing.
All I know is that those pubs are about to make bank this weekend.
Oh yeah, Farmageddon in Ireland. Who would have thunk a sentence that only makes sense? Oh no, that's a horrible joke. Never mind. We're gonna move on.
No, you should say it.
I say a joke that probably hasn't been said since that god awful potato famine in the 1800s. See, that was bad. That was bad.
I'm here for it.
But anyway,
Anyways,
that should do
the
it.
last game the last game of the week zero slate, we have Stanford at Hawaii. Hawaii is a 2.5 point favorite. That one surprised me a little bit at first because Stanford, I figured there was going to be a lot of hype, with Andrew Luck being the GM now, Frank Reich being the interim coach. I know he's only going to be there for 1 year. It's hard to recruit, and his roster's kind of looking a little thin after the scandal. But I mean, still, all the hype around that, I would think that I would have thought that would have played some kind of role in Vegas's point spread. But
Hawaii is a
Hawaii.
sneaky good team, though.
They are, and their quarterback Michael Adejo is expected to have a very big year in that high octane offense. So we
Yeah,
shall see.
we shall see.
We shall see. But of those games outside of the top 25 matchup, I'm putting this more into mid-major Matt territory. Which one of those games to you is the most intriguing?
I can't wait to watch. I know I'm going to be asleep for most of it, but like you said, Hawaii definitely.
Hmm.
Like you said, they have such a high octane offense. They're also in the process of starting to build a new stadium slowly and steadily. And I mean, anytime Hawaii's good is good for football, in my opinion. And the other reason why I say that now, especially, is because, there's an outside chance, just an outside chance, I think, that if Hawaii has a good season, I don't think they're going to make the playoff or anything. Don't get me wrong, but they're going to have a really good season. They've got a very good quarterback, and we've all been talking about it recently, especially like what the Pac-12. They need another member, and Hawaii is a state school, and they're in a beautiful location. And that's a great way to get like people from Washington State and Oregon State to agree to it. Is like, hey, you get to send your players to Hawaii. It's complicated, but it's beautiful, and they actually have a competent program. So if you compare a competent program and a new stadium with beautiful island resources and yada yada, I think that they've got it. They could maybe end up being that other team in the Pac-12. Maybe their basketball needs help, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
We'll get to
Football,
that
whether
when
we
they
want
come
to
to the start of basketball season.
Yes. Whether I want to admit it or not, football's the driver for all this conference realignment, money, and whatnot, even though nobody knows what the hell's going on with NIL. So, maybe it's Hawaii. Maybe Hawaii becomes that team. They're on the West Coast. It wouldn't be like adding Memphis or anything. So it wouldn't be as bad of a drive, I say. Like you could drive across the Pacific Ocean. It wouldn't be as bad of a move for them.
Hmm.
So this could be a game for Hawaii that sets a tone going forward, I hate to be like this, but in a way, when you're not in contention for that national championships, you just now have to be in contention to find a better home to keep making that sweet, sweet money because that's what college athletics is kind of becoming now. So
You
it's
know,
Hawaii.
when you mentioned that, Hawaii is one of those teams where they're just fun when they're good. I know a lot of people are going to listen to that and they're going to think of the Colt Brennan years and all that, RIP. But real college football fans remember the connection between Timmy Chang and Chad Owens.
I
That
do
was
love
one of the
Tim Chang.
most that was one of the most fun quarterback receiver duos that really got me into loving college football back in the day. I mean, their battles with Boise State, there was one year where Boise State beat them 69-3, I believe. Yeah, 69-3.
Yeah,
That was a pretty bad game, but other than that, they were usually really good games. So, yeah, had to take that. We got to take that one out, but the
you gotta
rest
have
of them were
two
pretty
for
good.
one book.
But yeah,
Everyone
people
gets
forget
one.
Timmy Chang was one of the all-time leaders in passing yards in college football history. They're one of the forgotten legends of college football.
There are a lot more of those than you want to admit.
There are. But speaking of quarterbacks, one of the bigger stories we talk about leading into the official start of college football is that there have been some quarterback one battles. Some go as you expect, like we expected Arch Manning to win the starting job at Texas. We expect Julian Sand to win the starting job at Ohio State. But others kind of came as a surprise. Matt, what's the first one you want to talk about?
Well, there's quite a few to choose from. I was going to mention too that even Stanford was involved in this with the Ben Goldbrinson starting move over Elijah Brown. It's like Elijah Brown, man, that's sad. Goldbrinson from Oregon State, a good reason why Stanford has a chance tonight get the win. I think the one that surprised me the most was probably C.J. Carr.
Really?
Well, not surprised, but the one that like has my eyebrow raised the most. Not because of who he beat. I mean, you beat out a 3-year quarterback as a redshirt freshman. That's pretty cool. But I think the guy's got potential. I mean, that's mostly why. I mean, ugh. The dude's only taken a few snaps like his entire career. I think he got a couple at the end of like that Purdue game, which was very close and very strenuous. I know,
Yeah, I know.
very tough ball game. But I think he's gonna. It's a very quick start for Notre Dame too, because it's kind of like you got Miami and Texas A&M to start off, and it's kind of like, that could be a rough start for a guy. But when you've got Jeremiah Love, it really becomes a moot point. You get a little bit more room to experiment if you're CJ Carr. I think the guy. I don't know why. I just have good feelings about him. I think he could be a guy who ends up being a very good passer for Notre Dame. Maybe fills that Riley Leonard shaped hole in all our hearts. Has a really good career there at Notre Dame. I mean, he was what? I have to look this up. The number sixth quarterback in the class. That usually means you're pretty good. And like I said, when you're on a team, even with a rough start like Notre Dame, and you've got Jeremiah Love in that defense, you can afford, even against a really good team like Miami or Texas A&M, or whoever to make maybe a couple boneheaded mistakes because that team around you and Marcus Freeman, who's a great motivator, is not going to let you down. They're not going to let you get too low. They're not going to let you get too high. They're going to try to even you out in the process of a season, which is rough. But I think he can do it. I think CJ Carr can do it for a Notre Dame team that has some very high expectations. It's like we said, I can't remember which one of you said it way back when. It's like we don't think Notre Dame is going to be in the championship game, but they have a decent outside chance to make that Final Four, make that at least, and they definitely have a great chance to make the playoffs. So I'm going to go with CJ Carr. I think he can really be a guy learning on the fly who can elevate a team at the same time. And that's weird to say, but I just don't know why I'm going with him.
I wonder how many Nepo baby comments he's going to get because that's Lloyd Carr's grandson, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
wonder how
even
many
mention
Nepo
that
baby.
because I know they're coming.
Yeah, they're going to come. The Nepo baby comments are coming, but how you silence those comments is if you go out and ball out.
Throw tutties.
Throw tutties,
Throw
exactly.
them tutties.
But my biggest surprise for a QB1 battle, and I honestly think this might be the biggest quarterback controversy that no one is talking about. In case you missed it, BYU named true freshman Bear Bachmeier,
Okay,
brother of Hank Bachmeier, their starting quarterback. Of course,
okay, Wes.
anytime. Do what?
Before you get too far into that,
Okay.
I am totally on board with this because that guy can aura farm like nobody ever. He's a quarterback. His name is Bear. He wears number 47, and he's got that hair. That dude is aura farming, and
Hey, the
I am
NIL
here
is about
for
to
it.
come in.
The
Church
NIL
of
and the
Latter-day
aura
Saints about to throw him
farming.
that bag.
I don't give a damn about the X's and O's. When you can aura farm like that, you are automatically the best quarterback in the country in my book. And now that I've said something stupid, back to you with the real take.
Of course, anytime a true freshman wins a starting quarterback job, I mean, it grabs your attention. Like, dude must be pretty good, or as Matt said, complete aura farm. But Bachmeyer is the first freshman to be named the starter for BYU since Zach Wilson in 2018, and is said to give the Cougars the highest ceiling following their 11-2 2024 season. He's a dual threat. He can make plays in and out of the pocket. But here is where the controversy comes in. Say Bachmeyer has a good 2025, or at least flashes a good amount of potential, and Kalani Sitake, head coach of BYU, believes the Cougars may have found their QB of the future. Where the controversy comes in is how does this affect the recruitment of an uber talented quarterback prospect in Ryder Lyons? Say Bachmeyer is the guy. Lyons could be looking at his third season at the minimum before he becomes the starting quarterback. Maybe, just maybe, he's cool with that, but not every quarterback's like Arch Manning. A lot of quarterbacks want to play right away. So, with a true freshman being named the starting quarterback this year, and if he does go out and have a good season or at least flash potential, how does this affect the recruitment of another very highly coveted quarterback prospect? That's why I think BYU has one of the biggest quarterback controversies that nobody's talking about right now. And let me tell you, because
Yeah.
I am the self proclaimed, as much as I say that sarcastically, recruiting expert on this show, Ryder Lyons is the real deal. Like I think he's probably one of the most talented quarterback prospects I've seen BYU have in a while.
All I'm going to say is that the one most important thing I've learned from this segment is that BYU has the coolest player names on the planet. I mean, Ryder, Lions, Bear. Are you kidding me? They've
It
got
doesn't get much
lions.
better than that.
They just need a tiger now, and they'll have lions and
They'll have the whole
tigers and
cat family.
bears. Oh my! I mean, really, they're that close to something impressive here. We are this close to Wizard of Ozing in Provo, and we got to make it happen.
We got to. So if there's yeah, they just need a tiger. You
We
know
just
what?
need a
If Tiger Campbell wanted to come back to college and play
exactly.
football,
He can play wide receiver. He can be a slot guy. We can make
I
that happen.
no, I got the perfect position for Tiger Campbell. Nickel
Okay.
corner.
Ooh, he would be good at that. You're right. Okay, we got to find him. We got. I don't know where he is right now, but we got to find him.
Somebody get Tiger Campbell on the phone right now. Hop on the show. We're gonna talk him into being the nickel corner for BYU.
So that way we can have lions, tigers, and bear. Oh
Oh
my!
my!
And that's how you win the Big 12, baby. Right there. That's how you win.
I had a joke lined up for that with the Church of Latter-day Saints, but I'm gonna avoid that.
I like how we're both like, well, we have jokes
We
today,
have
but they're
jokes
a
lined
little
up, but we're gonna
controversial.
avoid that.
We're not going to get that controversial today. All right.
We're not. Yeah,
It's
we're. This is a fun show, not a controversial show. I don't feel like setting y'all off too much today.
less is more. The triggering podcast.
It's coming to a cancel culture near you.
Oh my God. We got to stop or we're going to make something really bad one.
Okay, moving on. One of the other
Quarterback.
quarterback battles
Quarterback.
that
Yes, yes,
surprised
yes.
me is who Cal named their starting quarterback, and I am
Yeah, I
going
was
to
going to talk about this
absolutely
one.
I'm going to butcher this kid's name. And I'm so sorry. I don't mean to do that, but Jaron Kawhi Saga Puletti, I think is how it's pronounced.
I think you got that pretty good. I think you nailed that.
Yeah, I mean, I tried, but I think obviously the big story here is that he won the job over Ohio State transfer Devin Brown. I mean, I mean, Ohio State quarterbacks have a rep about them of being like really good college quarterbacks, coming from a very good system and developing nicely. So anytime, and because I believe he's a freshman as well, Jaron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
He had like
anytime
a really weird thing too, where he committed to Oregon, then decommitted, then recommitted, then entered the portal, and ended up a Cal.
yeah,
So technically, he came through the portal, I guess, but it really doesn't
I
count.
feel like he came through the portal the same way Julian Sand came through the portal.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know if Julian Sand committed, recommitted, and did all that before eventually going to Iowa State. But yeah,
It's
like
very similar to that.
technically, Julian Sand's a transfer, even though he's not really a transfer. Gotta love the new age of college football.
Everything's in air quotes now, man. Everything is
Everything
in
is
air.
in air quotes, but
Nothing matters.
it gives
Everything's
us a
air
lot
quotes.
to talk about though.
It does, which is nice.
But yeah, so
Beating Devin Brown, yeah, it did surprise me a little.
Is there any quarterback one battles you want to add to that, or do you want to move on to our
There were a
next
couple
segment?
of there are a couple odds and ends. The first thing was my favorite take of this whole thing was we were reading. I saw something about Julian Sayin, and it's just like what's I'm gonna say.
Oh, is this who he looks like?
No, 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 no. It was somebody tweeted like Julian saying, "You don't even have to gas up the car; just drive. Don't put it in reverse." I'm like, yeah, that's true. All he's got to do basically is show up and complete like two passes, and no, I would say it's probably fine. Just
Yeah,
give the ball to Ryan Williams, and you're in good shape. A couple other
Jeremiah
ones
Smith.
interesting.
Jeremiah
Brad
Smith.
Jeremiah Smith. Ugh.
Yeah. Ryan
Another
Williams is
one.
the other stud quarterback stud receiver. We both messed up there. He's the other stud receiver that graced the cover of College Football 26.
Another one that I liked was, we one of the big stories this offseason, I think you had to do about 20,000 videos on it, was the Nico
Iamalieva.
situation.
Apparently, that's even
Iamalieva.
the wrong pronunciation. I mean, I literally so many comments have like butchered me for like just saying his name wrong, but like even they're mispronouncing his name. So I'm like,
Right. But I'm going to say that they announced, Tennessee did announce that Joey
hmm
Aguilar will replace him, and I've been a fan of his obviously since the Appalachian State days, and I'm hoping that he's going to have a big comeback in Tennessee. It didn't go so great at UCLA. They kind of did like the whole they made a trade thing. I hope that this ends up being a good thing for him because back in the mountains. I know Boone, North Carolina is not Knoxville in terms of fan base and resources and pressure, but maybe being back in that area, we'll get the old App State guy when he was 2003 Newcomer of the Year. I really enjoyed watching him play. I hope that he gets back to where he needs to be. And to add to the we're very very old file, Fresno State announced that EJ Warner is going to be their
yeah,
starting quarterback.
oh yeah, Kurt Warner's kid.
And now I'm just like, man, I caught the tail end of Kurt Warner's career when he led the Cardinals to that miraculous Super Bowl run, and now his son is a quarterback. Oh, I hate this, Les. I hate
Oh,
this
if it
so
makes you
much.
feel any better, I remember when Kurt Warner was still on the Rams.
That's true. You're a little bit older than me sometimes. I forget that. I mostly remember Kurt Warner
hmm
more than I remember Ram. I was like 3 when The Greatest Show on Turf was a thing, so
Yeah.
I obviously don't remember that. All I remember is that my dad was still mad about Marshall Falk.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because he should be letting him winning championships with Peyton Manning, damn it. Not winning
I would say
championships with Chris.
that's on us. For some reason, we didn't want to have both Marshall Falk and Edgerrin James in the backfield. We had to like get rid of one for some reason. Like, okay, sure.
It was a different world back
One
then.
of the many reasons why. You know what? I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna let him rest in peace.
Good idea. Good
Yeah.
idea.
Well,
Especially
actually, you
because
know what? You know,
talking
Jim
about
Irsay's not
quarterback.
here to defend himself. R.I.P. Jim Irsay. So I'm gonna put that on Bill Polian.
Okay. Yeah, even Hall of Fame general managers make mistakes every once in a while.
Yeah.
And the only other one I was kind of following along with quarterbacks was because of my own interest was Taven Jackson did not get the starting nod at Central Florida. That went to Cam Fancher. I think it was probably the right move, but I was very interested to see like how Taven Jackson would do leaving the Hoosier program now that we've adopted the get a high profile transfer method because that's still weird to me that Indiana football is actually worthy of being talked about before a season starts because usually it's just like, is it basketball season yet? But sometimes things change a little bit, so that's weird. But no, Taven Jackson, I was following him down in Central Florida. They're going with Cam Fancer. I think that's the right move. He was really good at Florida Atlantic. That's a good move. So those were some that I was kind of tangentially interested in. So that's all
hmm
I've got.
Fair enough. So, as obviously week zero kind of paves the way for the first week of the official college football season, because I know both of us have mixed reactions on when the college football season officially starts. So, as we look forward past week zero to week one, what is an underrated matchup for week one that you're looking forward to?
I'm really excited to watch, and I know I kind of hinted at earlier, tipped my hand a little bit. I'm really excited to watch Baylor and Auburn on Friday night, I believe. Neither one really ranked right now. Both teams kind of trying to find some direction. Baylor is one of those teams that could possibly sneak into that wide open Big 12 race. Auburn is one of those teams where now they're claiming 7 national titles to feel
Yeah.
something. So it's obvious that even though 2 of them I would argue are legitimate chances, and they're the most recent ones. So we've got that going on. So it's like you've got a program that seems like they're in a state of limbo right now in Auburn and Baylor, where it's kind of like there are expectations, but they're not really there. And they're not, it's not a top 25 matchup, but it's two, I like these games especially, where you have two brand name teams that are playing each other from major conferences. They're not ranked, but this could be the thing that sets one of them up for massive success. And that's always interesting to me. And I'm going to let you go because I got kind of another one that makes me curious.
The one that I want to talk about because I did a video on this and I got a lot of feedback from the fans. Tennessee and Syracuse. And, Tennessee fans, I appreciate the comments, but I think a lot of you all are a little blinded by the whole fact that, oh, we play in the SEC. We got all these blue chip recruits. I'm going to tell you something. Fran Brown and company are building something in Syracuse. Um, there's a lot of hype around that Syracuse defense this year. And then, of course, an offense that's led by Notre Dame transfer quarterback Stephen Jelly. And, of course, the addition that I kind of think went a little under the radar of Jonte Cook, a receiver that I know has all the talent in the world if he can just keep his head on straight. I'm going to be honest. I think Syracuse is going to pull the upset and beat the
Ooh,
Tennessee
I like this.
Volunteers.
I like that. I think it could happen. I mean, I know I just talked about how much I like the Aguilar in the starters. Blah, 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 blah. Let's try that again. I know how much I talked about Aguilar in the starters position, but you're right. Fran Brown quietly building something very nice up there in where is Syracuse? Syracuse is in Syracuse. Why did
Is
I
in
need to think of
Syracuse, New
that?
York.
Why did I need to think about that? I'm like,
I
they're not
mean,
in Utica.
it's almost so obvious you got to think about it.
I know that's true, but I'm like, they're not in Utica, and they're not in like
They're not in
Buffalo.
Albany. They're in
Where are
Syracuse,
they?
New York.
Are they in Seneca Falls? Oh God, this is gonna be long. This is gonna be a long show, even though it's almost over. The other game I'm kind of interested in is South Carolina and Virginia Tech. People, I mean, we've all talked about South Carolina. You and I are big on Lenora Sellers. We're big. We drafted a lot on our fantasy teams. There were a lot of South Carolina guys involved. Virginia Tech, I don't know how I did this less. Like, I don't know how. But somehow I ended up on Virginia Tech sports Twitter. Like,
Oh, they're very entertaining. I got a buddy who's a Virginia Tech fan because he's part from that part of the country, and he sends me like tweets from, Virginia Tech Twitter, the Twitterverse for
yeah,
the
it's
Hokies.
incredibly entertaining.
It's very entertaining,
And
actually.
like their view of this season runs the gamut from like literally running Brent Pry like out of town like the second they go down 7-0 in week one, or they're going to upset South Carolina in the name of the one true Beamer, and the next thing you know, they're going to be like 8-4. So I don't know why, but just because of their Twitter being so, we're either going 8-4 or we're going 4-8, and the head coach needs to be run out of town, or he's the greatest coach of all time and he needs a second.
The
I'm
second
just
coming of Frank Beamer.
I'm just so confused. Like I gotta watch this. I just have to watch that game as long as like there's not one of those vaunted matchups going on at the same time. So I don't know why Virginia Tech and South Carolina also intrigues me because of that. I don't know if it's just because of the rabid fan base of Virginia Tech, the fact I love Lenora Sellers this year, or a little bit of both. But it's a match made in heaven, and I'm gonna run with it.
Yeah, I think that leads us to the final part of the show where we're basically just gonna bullshit about whatever we want. I don't know. This is kind of cheating because like it kind of falls in line with week one under not really under the radar, but a week one
Right.
game. But I'm gonna say this because Ryan's not here to defend himself right now,
I
and it's
like
gonna be
this.
great.
This is gonna be great. Yes.
So, as a lot of you all know, I am a Texas fan. Ryan is an Ohio State fan. Our two teams play in the first official week of college football. Here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
I think Texas wins that game by 2 touchdowns.
How?
2 touchdowns plus. Sorry.
Oh, okay. There's the more intriguing part. There we go.
And the reason being is I think Ohio State has to replace way too much on both sides of the ball when it comes to the line play. And I
Mm.
just don't know how Ohio State's going to be able to contain Texas's defensive line. I mean, it's like, okay, cool. If you want to send more, more blocking to one side to block Colin Simmons, okay, you got Trey Moore, you got Ethan Burke. Not to mention Texas loaded up through the portal, up the middle in the defensive line. And,
Mm-hmm.
in as much as a matchup problem as Jeremiah Smith causes, I don't know how he's going to be able to get the ball with Julian Sane on his back. So I
That's
just
true.
think Texas's line is just going to be able to dominate that game. And I think they're going to win by 2+ touchdowns.
I could see that happening. I don't want it to because when you get a game like this, you want it to be like storied. You know what I mean? Especially as a guy with no skin in the game. I'm an observer here. Indiana's playing Old Dominion, and I'll be damned if I watch 1 second of that while this game's going on.
Hmm.
I don't care about Old Dominion. It's hard to care. I'm still getting used to like, do I have to care about Indiana football? But that's for another time. But man, I just want this game to be as good as I think it could be on paper, which is like some kind of 49-47 epic shootout.
Hmm.
Now that never happens, and I'll be happy if it's like 24-21 as long as the game's good. But I could honestly see that happening because much like I talked about with C.J. Carr at Notre Dame, this is kind of like, hey, congratulations, you're one of the best football programs in the country. Hey, your first game's against Texas. They're okay.
The preseason #1 team in the country, but
They're okay. They're all right.
Arch Manning is now the starter at Texas. You may have heard of that guy.
Just go out there and have fun, Julian. You look like
Had like one of the highest NIL earnings before he even had his first start.
hey, just go
And
out
he
there and
didn't
have
take a
fun.
dime of it. He didn't take a dime of it until
He had
now.
to earn it, damn it.
He had to earn it, damn it.
Which was still kind of cornball because, like, when you're a part of that family, you have money. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Arch. I love
No,
your family.
yeah, it's not like
You
he
have
was really
money.
hurting for money anyway.
But yeah, so it's like, go out there and start, Julian. You look like Paul Atreides. Prove your lease on Al Gaib. Go out there and have fun.
Yeah, that killed me out when you said he looked like the dude from Dune.
He doesn't look like Timothy Chalamet, but he looks like Timothy Chalamet as Paul Atreides. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, lease on Al Gaib. Go get
Because
Javier Bardem.
I'm not as up to date with like the Dune lore because I'm not gonna lie, the Dune movies put me to sleep. But um,
Try the books. Well, anything other than the first book. The
are they
first book's
boring?
good. Then it's kind of like, oh my god, how long does this go on?
But yeah, like I had to Google who that name was, and I was like, oh, the guy from Dune, got it.
The guy from Dune got it.
He's
Now I
not
got a question.
he's not the worms.
He's not a sandworm, no less. Okay,
He's
now
not the Alaskan bullworm.
it was an Alaskan. He was big.
Bull.
Julian saying is big, pink, and he ate everything. That's horrible. Okay, is that all your take on the Ohio State game? Because I want to ask you a question.
Yeah,
If it
ask
is
away, sir. We have
okay,
6 minutes. Ask away.
I gotta know this. I am seeing more and more, and I don't know if it's just because of the state they're into without Nicholas Saban running the show, but there are a small but incredibly devoted group of people on Twitter who think that Alabama is in for the shock of a lifetime, and they are walking into a Indiana Jones snake pit at Florida State. Does Florida State have a chance?
No,
Do you agree with this?
no.
How
I,
does
I,
what?
bro, I
How
think
will they even
after
pull it off?
Tom,
I
I
gotta know.
no, and I think Thomas Castellanos put a target on his back when he made those comments. Nick Saban ain't walking through the door. I understand, like they're not as of right now, they are not as dominant as they were during the Saban era, but they are still Alabama, and they still have a very good coach in Kalen DeBoer. Like they're nobody you should just be like, oh, they're done, they're whatever. No, they are still a great team. They still have a ton of talent. They still have Ryan Williams. I mean, they still have a lot of potential. They need to tighten up a few things on defense, but they're still going to be a top 10 team year like all year. Florida State is definitely like we don't know where the hell they're going. I mean, they had the awful season last year. They bring in, former Boston College quarterback Thomas Castellanos and I mean, he has potential, I guess, but I mean, he's nobody that really like strikes fear in a defense. Like, oh my gosh, we got to go up against Thomas Castellanos. He's nobody that the defense coordinator is going to be losing sleep over. Like, I'm sorry, he's not Lenora Sellers, he's not DJ Lagway, he's not Arch Manning. I mean, he's not even Cade Klubnik or Garrett Nussmeier. I mean, I shouldn't even say it like that. They're both, really good quarterbacks, but
Right. I
no,
get it.
yeah, no, ain't nobody you're going to lose sleep over. I mean, yes, they had some, I guess, decent portal acquisitions outside of him and a decent recruiting class, but I mean, just given where they were last year, they have so much to do before they're even ready to make that a game.
Right. Okay. Well, I was curious. Most of the stuff I've been seeing too about that goes back to Ty Simpkins being the starter at Alabama. Like I almost brought this up during our quarterback thing, but we had like a nice little flow going. But people
Hmm.
do not like him, and they think that he's going to end up costing them the game.
Um, I have mixed emotions about that because Ty Simpson, I think, is one of those quarterbacks that I think could fit in Kalen DeBoer's system pretty well. But if he doesn't, I also could see a world where, do y'all remember, y'all as in the fans, do y'all remember if, like, this is a while ago, this is still during the Saban era, where, I'm blanking on this guy's name because he's an afterthought, but he was, the projected starter coming in. He was primarily a pocket passing quarterback like Ty Simpson is. Ty Simpson does have a little bit of wheels too, but I mean, he is more known for his passing ability. And no, Blake Barnett. His name was Blake Barnett, but he was
Oh
the
yeah, now I remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
Blake Barnett was his name. He was like a supposed really good quarterback prospect, but then
Yeah.
first game of the year against USC, he gets benched, and then Jalen Hurts comes in and then makes a name for himself. I could also see a world where Ty Simpson is the guy to start the season, but should he get off to a slow start, Alabama's got another really good freshman quarterback by the name of Keelan Russell, who was a very good quarterback at Duncanville in the state of Texas. And, you might have heard of his best target when he was there. He's only like the number one ranked receiver in this class and expected to be, one of the stud freshmen this year, and that's DeCorian Moore, who's now playing at Oregon.
Right.
But yeah, I could see an equal world where like maybe Ty Simpson works out, or maybe he starts the game and then kind of struggles, and then Keelan Russell comes in. I know they have another quarterback on the depth chart that is technically ahead of Keelan Russell, but
Yeah,
don't
because
I
he
can
was a DeBoer recruit, I think. The
do
other
what?
guy. I think the other guy was a DeBoer recruit, but I can't think of his name right now.
Mm-hmm. I'll look this up, but no, I can definitely see a world where it could be a
We're
similar
both
situation to like Blake Barnett.
right. Yeah, like you said, you had to say that name because I was struggling for the life of me trying to figure out who we were talking about. I was like, that was the guy who got benched for Hurts, but who?
Yeah, it's the guy who
Austin
got.
Mack. Austin Mack.
Oh, was it Austin Mack?
Austin Mack. Yeah.
Hold on one second. Wait, is Austin Mack the guy on the? Hold on. Let me see
I
something
thought
real quick.
Austin Mack was the other guy in Alabama who Simpson beat out.
Yeah, also okay. Yeah, I was making sure. Yeah, yeah, I can definitely see Keelan Russell beating out Austin Mack.
But either way, you don't see that either a bad game from Simpson or a bad game from Mack giving the game to Florida State at
Yeah.
all.
No, I don't
Because I
see that
didn't
at
either,
all.
and I'm like, am I? I could be wrong here because you're better with the quarterbacks than I am. So I'm like, well,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna have to us anyway before I put any money
I
on
see a
this.
world where like Alabama's offensive line, Caden Proctor's still on the team. They still have very good offensive line on paper, and of course they could run the ball with Jam
We've got
Miller and have a lot of
Yeah.
yeah, and just have a lot of success. So,
All right, we've got
but
like
we got
30
less than a
seconds
minute.
to
So
go.
as always, like and subscribe to Less is More Sports YouTube and Spotify channel to get the latest updates we have on new content coming out. Be sure to follow the social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Threads. It's at Less is More Sports, and also be sure to follow the side quests on TikTok. That's at BeansAt018. And what are we going to get beat by the timer by today?
I don't know. That's a great question. Probably the fact that did you see the SEC is playing a 9 game schedule now?
I did see that.
9 game conference schedule. That's going to be pretty nice, unless you're Kentucky or Vanderbilt or
Vanderbilt
probably
thinks they can win the Natty.
Vanderbilt. I love them, but Diego Pavia